Hello, how are you guys doing? So I realized that I have no content in English, and I thought it was super important for me and for a lot of people who have supported me throughout this past few months to get a little bit of a taste of what happens in this YouTube channel. I've had a lot of my friends and clients reach out to me recently just asking what's going on because everyone's feeling all the shifts and changes that are happening in the atmosphere, and I just thought it was important to address everything in a video. Like I said, I've done bits and pieces throughout everything that I've recorded in Spanish, but I thought I owe it to you to know what's going on. But two, I hate the feeling of you going through something and me not being there for you. So I thought this was something that I should do. So let's start with the infamous Mercury retrograde. Mercury went retrograde in Gemini on May 30th, and it won't go direct until June 23rd. But the effects of this Mercury retrograde have been starting to get felt maybe around mid-May, I would like to say. And the shadow of it is going to last until July 7th. So it's important to have those dates in mind to, one, plan things around, two, just be conscious of everything that's going on. It's not necessarily anyone's fault, or that you have done something wrong or anything like that. It's just Mercury is to blame. Okay? So Gemini, right? What is Gemini season and why is it important that Mercury is retrograde on Gemini? Gemini is in tarot represented by the Lover's card. The Lover's card is not just about lovers and duality and, polar opposites that attract, blah, blah, blah. It's also about this symbol of having a choice, having to make a decision between two options. So that is one thing, right? So keep that in mind. Gemini is also the ruler of communication, anything that has to do with nowadays internet and emails and messages and data and storage of data, but also about just plain communication, have it be verbal, written. So think about it like this. You may be trying to say something and it gets interpreted in a totally different way from what you're trying to say, but also it's in regards to the way you receive the message and your perception of things, right? So Gemini has to do with a lot of that thing. And there's always a duality. There's always two sides to the story. So Mercury being retrograde in Gemini means there's a lot of misinterpretation and room for failure, but also for potential for improvement within that region, right? So think about it like this. Mercury retrograde is famous for bringing back our exes, but if it's in Gemini and Gemini is about duality, think about the extra boost of power this Mercury is gonna have, right? So that is one thing. And again, the extra boost of power to have miscommunication happening is astronomical, right? So that is one thing that's going on. So if you're feeling like you're not conveying the message right, or people are not understanding what you're saying, or that, you're not necessarily hearing what you want to say, even from me, that is all just generic energy that's going on right now. Now let's talk about Jupiter. What is Jupiter doing? What's Sue's up to? Jupiter is in the sign of Pisces right now. Jupiter on its own is expansive and very male energy and very authority related and everything that's big, right? Whenever Jupiter is in your sign, this happens every 12 years. I'll have to look at your sign and stuff like that, but you get the bigger shifts in your life, right? But I mean shifts in sense of stages, you feel you definitely go up a step. So that is what Jupiter does. Being that it's in the sign of Pisces, what ends up happening is an explosion of our intuition. Everything that we feel or hidden emotions come to the surface, but it also has to do with our true purpose in life, what we really want to do, what we really want to accomplish. So a lot of people are going to be experiencing a big shift in their life mission and what they want to do for a life moving forward. And everything is going to be like a shakeup. So I forgot to say the dates. Jupiter is in Pisces between May 9th and July 29th, as of right now. Then it goes back to Aquarius, and then it moves back to Pisces next year. But right now we're just getting a taste of what is going to happen, or what 2022 is going to look like. A lot of people are going to start waking up. Spiritual consciousness, everything leveling up. And it's not just your own, but people around you. And you're going to start noticing, you're going to start seeing everything that's going on. Humanity overall is going to start experiencing a different level of consciousness. And I think, honestly, I'm super excited about that. I'm totally looking forward to it. But it also opens the door to not being the only weird one in the room, right? And actually being able to have a meaningful conversation with other people. So there's like, good things looking forward to. But regardless, because this shift is happening now and everything is overlapping, sort of, a lot of people are going to have this anxiety about like, I know I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Or maybe you do and you're just too afraid to take that step. And that creates a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of not feeling, or like having this internal conflict about fulfilling somebody else's expectations and fulfilling your own. So there is this debate that has always been happening, but now it's going to come to the surface and being apparent that you can't live like this any longer. And let me tell you, you won't be able to live like this any longer. If you don't make that shift, the universe is going to make it for you. So take this period like this. Consider, what is it? Think about, what is it that you really want to do? What does your heart truly desire? What are your most hidden emotions? And follow that. The universe is asking you to follow your intuition and go with it. So even if you don't act upon it now, think about what it is that you want to do and say, okay, I'm going to make myself a plan for 2022 to act accordingly and follow the steps. Now let's talk about Saturn. I think Saturn is one of those very undervalued planets that has so much influence in our life and on so many things in a big aspect, but it's so big that it's hidden in the background and no one notices. Saturn is a ruler of time, but it's not just time on like things happening on a day-to-day basis, but like time shifts. I can go on about this whole wormhole of like everything that has to do with astral projection and, whether reality and time are tangible and things like that. But I'm not going to go into that right now. I strongly believe in the power of Saturn for transformation, but not just about, things happening to you and whatever, but in internal transformation, evolution, and really having that, knowing that you have the power to transform yourself and be who you want to be. So if you really pay attention to everything that's going on, the universe is like pleading you to be who you want to be, to take a stand and fight for it, and to take everything. Saturn is also about experience, right? Like it's not just about, it's about knowledge, but knowledge through experience. It's like cumulative knowledge. Things that you have learned or that you know because you've gone through it and because you have either suffered or learned the joys and pleasures of life and what really resonates with you. So take everything that your life and your heart has experienced and put that to action. Really follow what you want to do. Don't take a diluted version of your life any longer, and don't settle for anything less than perfection for what you should be living. Saturn also brings about a sense of mortality to things. The true idea that our body does not last forever and we have a finite time in this planet. So what do you do with it? How do you invest your time moving forward? It's almost, to the people that don't understand what awakening is and what enlightenment is, it may feel like, midlife crisis, or that you're just throwing your life out the window, blah, blah, blah. You just need to live your life according to what you want, not what anyone else wants. And believe in what you're doing, believe in the purpose behind it, and things will work out. Now, Saturn is retrograde in the sign of Aquarius until October 11th, 2021. Aquarius is a sign of network. So what that combination is going to do is it's not just about evolution in regards to how you engage with other people, but evolution also in the sense of, are you really in the right network? Are your friends or your circle of current friends really the ones that resonate the most with you and are going to stand by your side on that next level of awakening? Because again, this is not anything, earthly. This is divine. So how is that happening? How does that play out? Do the people that is the partner that you're with really resonating with whom you want to be moving forward? Or did that person resonate with who you were last year or yesterday? There is a lot of questioning, and it's the right time to question all those decisions. It's the right time to really take a step back and analyze whether everything that's in your life will resonate or helps you get closer to where you're trying to go and what you're trying to accomplish. So now we've talked briefly about Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter, and we're going to move on to the moon and the sun. I love how this is the time of Gemini, not just because of communication and the whole Mercury retrograde issues. That is not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is this essence of soulmates and lovers, or rather the choice to be with your soulmate or lover, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But astrologically, the way that I think I interpret that is by the sun and the moon. There's a lot of mythology involved with this lovers that never get to see each other and are total opposites, but yet the romantic story is so beautiful and idealized that it's ground for a lot of things. And they're both having a huge day on June 10th. First, we're going to start our day, because this is going to be on the other side of the planet. I'm in the US, so the other side of the planet. We're going to have a solar eclipse in Gemini. Eclipses are like massive shifts of energy. So if I'm telling you massive shifts and you're hearing about everything that's going on with the other planets, expect almost chaotic shifts. And I'm not talking in the bad sense, although chaotic does have a bad connotation, but I'm talking about really massive changes. And I'm just thinking about Bruce Mall, not that I said that. But anyhow, so massive changes because of this solar eclipse. The energy behind eclipses is sort of, I gave this example last night when I was recording this New Moon in Gemini audio, how it's like driving at night and there is all this fog and you can't see the road ahead of you, right? So at some moment you feel like stopping, because you don't know, you have no certainty whether the road extends ahead or whether there's a curve, anything like that, right? So your innate sense is to stop and contemplate whether you just sit there, or you may look back and see, can I turn around and go back? Well, in life, you can't go back, right? Well, then we can talk about time travel. Let's not talk about that. But you can't really go back. You can retrace your steps and see what led you to where you're at right now. But the bigger issue is not being able to see the road ahead. But there is an embedded sense of you have to have faith. And I'm not talking about faith in any sort of religious way, but I'm talking about faith in the spirituality sense, in that you have to have faith in yourself and know that whatever the road is taking you is where you're supposed to go. There's no mistakes. You're not here to get anywhere. You're here for the experience of life. And every step, even if you fall, is part of that experience. So that's what eclipses do, right? They just kind of bring an abrupt stop to our life and have us feel like there's no future ahead. It's just a feeling. So if you need to take the day off, take it. If you want to be by yourself, not have any sort of contact with anyone, do it. Do whatever is best for you, because everything moving forward is about you. It's about how you feel. It's about how you connect with yourself, and not about what others expect or think of you. You really need to focus on yourself. So that's going to be happening on the morning of June 10th. And then later that night, we have a new moon also in the sign of Gemini. New moons, as you may or may not know, are about new beginnings, but they're almost like a blank slate. It's almost like you're given the possibility of starting over, of creating. It's almost like a new day, right? What are you going to do with this new opportunity? What are you going to do with this new blank sheet? How are you going to write it? Full moons are for manifestation. New moons are for creating the steps to make that manifestation happen, having those tangible items that get you to where you want to be. So being that it's in the sign of Gemini, there's a lot of opportunities. One for improving communication, improving the way you approach communication and receive communication, evaluating also your network. It's a good day to contemplate the people around you. Are you doing everything necessary to make them your priority and make them feel like they really are worth your time? But it's not just about them being worth your time, but having quality time to spend with them. Or are you just, wasting your life away, fulfilling an office role and not living your dream, but doing the day-to-day things that take away precious time with, your family or your friends? It's not just important, but I highly recommend that people take the time to do so that day. Make a list. I don't know. I will probably list my brothers in that, but whoever is important to you, are you spending enough time with them? Are you telling them that you love them enough? This duality of the moon and the sun and what is happening on June 10th, one of the possibilities that will bring, aside from a fresh new start in communication and stuff, because it's happening while a Mercury retrograde is happening, there's a new possibility for old relationships. And I'm not talking about exclusively romantic relationships, but friendships and just old friends, old networks, whatever, to come back to the surface. And the universe is going to be giving you a new possibility of how do you engage with that? How do you, if a relationship didn't work out in the past and somebody reaches out, sort of taking a pause and say, okay, what do I do differently this time? It's not about repeating the same steps. It's definitely that is not what this is about. It's not about just going with oh my gosh, he texts me back, I'm just gonna go with it. No, it's about what have I learned while he has been away? And I'm just picking on the guy. I don't know why. And how have I changed? What are my expectations moving forward? What do I allow and what do I not allow moving forward? Does that person resonate with my life that I want to have from today moving forward? But like I said, it's not just exclusively about romantic partnerships, but also about friendships. You may hear from someone that you haven't heard from in a long time and, you lost contact for some reason. Now it's okay, did I lose contact for the right reason? Or do I really want to reestablish a friendship with this person? Going back to the soulmate thing or to the relationship thing, because of everything that is happening right now, and Saturn and Jupiter being, Saturn being the dictator, I don't want to say dictator, but the ruler of time, and Jupiter being the ruler of this masculine energy, and Gemini and all of this, a lot of female energies are going to be hearing back from their divine masculine. And the potential of that divine masculine being a twin flame or a soulmate are extremely high during this period. That does not mean that every person that reaches out to you from your past is going to be your soulmate and you should settle for that. But this feeling of you were meant to be and things didn't work out for some reason is really going to resonate with you, and it's really going to sink into your soul. Your intuition is going to know. So it's going to be a beautiful time, but it may not happen at the right moment in your life, and that sucks, but that is what Mercury is doing, right? It's going to bring people from the past, but the time is not going to seem right, or communication may not be the best, or you may feel you've been holding back from so many things you've been wanting to say to this person, and you're going to be aggressively welcoming them and saying you did this and that. Reconsider and really pause and think how you're going to respond before you do so. Sorry about the background noise. So really think about what would you say, and don't do it now. Well, when he texts you, think about it. Take your time. Take your Saturn time. Learn from everything you have been through and take that into consideration before you move forward. I do want to say though, people that get to work things out during this period and that, really make sense together and really feel like they belong together and intuition is off the charts with this person, man, it's really going to be worth it. So hold tight, don't give up, but don't give up on being yourself above everything. the energy, and I'm not going to go into detail, but one of the things I want to highlight is the energy of June 21st with the summer solstice is really amplifying that sense of, because it's in the sign of Cancer, or the sun will be in the sign of Cancer by then, it's going to amplify the sense of I need to go back home. And I don't mean literally and physically, I mean having your soul be in that place that feels like home. And I'm not saying if you don't get there by that time, it's like you fudged up. No, I'm saying that tying that back to the soulmate thing, twin flames, soulmates are gonna have a need to be together, and it's something that you cannot avoid any longer. And again, tying back to Saturn, because this is the right time for this human evolution, things are gonna feel differently this time. I totally lost my track of my train of thought towards the end because, again, background noise. It's Mercury retrograde. What are we gonna do, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening. If you don't know me, my name is Sharon. This is my channel. Please subscribe, like, leave a comment. Bye for now.